There she is.
Yes, there she is. And?
You made a promise.
To return the Stark girls to their mother, who is now dead.
To keep them safe.
Well, Arya Stark hasn't been seen since her father was killed. Where do you think she is? My money's on dead. There's a certain safety in death, wouldn't you say?
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones Season 8 predictions video. Today I want to answer some more of the questions you left me on my community tab. In my last Q&A video, I did answer the questions that had the most likes, but today I wanted to answer some of the questions that were posted late and didn't get many likes at all. That way more people get a chance to participate. I might make another one next week, so keep your eyes open for that post, but let's begin. This question is from Chelsea Oliver, and I wanted to answer her question first because she said something here that I thought was very interesting. I actually hadn't considered this before, and I don't recall anyone else ever bringing this up, and I just had to say that I love this idea. Chelsea's question says, do you think that Jaime could rally Edmure and forces in the Riverlands and head to Winterfell with a force of his own, and when he gets there, could we see him swearing an oath to Bran to keep him safe by becoming his shield? This is a great question, and first I just want to say yes. I absolutely think he could get Edmure Tully and try to rally some troops before he gets to Winterfell. That way he arrives with extra reinforcements. But I really loved what you said at the end of the question. Could Jaime swear an oath to Bran to keep him safe by becoming his shield? I actually never considered this. I have always said that I believe Jaime will die by sacrificing himself for one of the Starks or even Brienne. But I do think the most poetic way for him to sacrifice himself would be if he did it trying to save Bran, considering he did attempt to murder him in Season 1. For some reason, I have always pictured Jaime dying in the end, and then someone would fill out his pages in the White Book with all the good deeds that he truly done. You might not know this if you haven't read the books, but Jaime is constantly thinking about that White Book and how his pages are empty. I think he fears that he will die before he ever does something honorable, and he will only be remembered as the man who killed the king he had sworn to protect.
So Jaime Lannister. Someone forgot to write down all your great deeds.
There's still time.
Is there? For a 40-year-old knight with one hand?
At the sack of King's Landing, murdered his king, Aerys II, pardoned by Robert Baratheon, thereafter known as the Kingslayer.
It's the duty of the Lord Commander to fill those pages. And there's still room left on mine.
The reason why I love your idea is because I can absolutely see him doing something like that. Jaime had already swore a vow to Lady Catelyn that he would make sure her daughters were returned home safely. That was one of the reasons why he gave Brienne the sword and armor in the first place. But in the books, he gives her more than that. He also gives her a bunch of money so she can eat and have places to sleep. And he gives her a signed decree from King Tommen that she can basically use as her shield as she travels across the war-torn country. Now that you say that about Jaime swearing to protect Bran, I think we will see something like that. He won't just show up and say he will help them fight the dead, but I think he could bend his knee, just like Brienne did for Sansa, and he will pledge his sword to them. When Jaime gave Brienne Oathkeeper, he said something along the lines of, "Now you can protect Ned Stark's daughter with Ned Stark's sword." When Jaime shows up, he will have the second half of Ned Stark's sword, because Jaime now has Widow's Wail. He carried that sword on his hip in pretty much every episode in Season 7. When Jaime gets to Winterfell, he will pledge his sword to House Stark, and now the Stark children will be protected by all of the Valyrian steel that once made up ice. House Stark's ancestral Valyrian steel sword. How crazy would it be if Jaime actually became Bran Stark's new Hodor, and he stayed at his side, helping him and protecting him at all times, to make up for what he'd done in Season 1, when he pushed him out of the tower window. I still think Jaime may die by sacrificing himself, but if he lives, I absolutely believe he could stay in service to the Stark children. That's if they will have him, and allow him to stay. That was a great first question, so thank you, Chelsea. This next one is from Manish, and it has to do with Jaime Lannister as well. Manish says, there is speculation that Jaime will become the 1000th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch and help restore the Wall and the Order. Do you see this happening? I have heard this also. I believe Tony Teflon said Jaime would join the Night's Watch in the end. Personally, I do not see Jaime becoming the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. In my opinion, I don't think they will need a Night's Watch anymore once the Great War is over. If the Night King and his entire army are defeated, the Wall will no longer serve its purpose. So there would be no need to guard it because there is nothing left north of the Wall. But let's just say there will be a Night's Watch at the end. If for some reason they do restore the Wall and keep a guard there, I believe Jorah Mormont will become the 1000th Lord Commander. As we all know, Jorah Mormont's father was the Lord Commander at Castle Black, when Jon and Sam took the Black and said their vows. The reason why Jorah Mormont joined the Night's Watch in the first place was so that Jorah could inherit Bear Island earlier than he should have. Jorah Mormont knew he was already becoming an older man, and he pretty much lived his life, so he wanted to hand everything over to Jorah. He decided to join the Night's Watch so he could still provide some kind of a service, but Jorah pretty much spit right in his father's face when he started selling poachers into slavery. Not only did he embarrass their entire family, but Jorah had to go on the run and give up everything his father had given him. So now Jorah Mormont was stuck at the Wall for the rest of his life, and the only reason he joined was so Jorah could take over for him at Bear Island. And now that Jorah had ruined that, it completely broke his father's heart. Even though Jorah was still serving at the Wall, I bet he felt like he joined for nothing, because everything he had sacrificed for his son was now given up because his son broke the law. But there is something Jorah could do that would have pleased his father. When Jorah Mormont was dying, he was laying in Samwell Tarly's arms, and he told Sam that he had one dying wish. He wanted Sam to tell Jorah to take the Black. It was his wish, his dying wish. I believe if Jorah Mormont lives until the end, he would take the Black like his father wanted. Lyanna Mormont now has control of Bear Island, and she isn't about to just hand it over to Jorah because he's friends with Dany and Jon. So I don't know what else Jorah would do if he did live that long. But like I said, I don't know if there will even be a Night's Watch anymore, because if there is nothing north of the Wall, then there is no point of having a wall in the first place. But that's just my opinion. The next question is from Nathan, and he says, what do you think about the theory that the Night King will sacrifice his army of 100,000 in the north, and he will fly south to King's Landing in order to recruit 1 million people from the city? This was actually in that outline I read last week. Basically what this means is some people think the Night King will send his army to Winterfell while he flies to King's Landing to try and turn the 1 million people there. Personally, I don't think this makes that much sense. If the Night King flies to King's Landing by himself, how does he plan on killing 1 million people when he would only have his dragon with him? If the Night King used his dragon to kill the 1 million people, he would then have no way of turning them into whites, because once the dragon fire kills them, they're going to turn to ash. The only way this would work is if the blue flame happens to freeze them. Then he could turn them before they unthawed, I guess. But there is no way to know how that works. We saw what the dragon did to the Wall, so I'm not sure how he could use the dragon to help him turn 1 million people. The dragon would do too much damage to their bodies. I believe the Night King will stay right with his army. I think he would be way too vulnerable if he was by himself, even on a dragon. He needs his army with him, that way everyone is distracted by his 100,000 whites, while he can be in the air providing aerial support. If he went to King's Landing by himself on the dragon, he would have to find a way to kill everyone without doing too much damage to the bodies. That way he could still turn them into whites, but I just don't see that working. The next question is from Tina North, and it says, I know that we are supposed to be getting a bittersweet ending, but wouldn't it be nice if Jon had some happiness, and Arya completed her list, and Bran got his castle? I think I talked about this a little bit in a previous video, but I don't think the ending is going to be as bitter as some people think. We will definitely lose some main characters, sure, but haven't we all been expecting that to happen anyway? When they say the ending is going to be bittersweet, I think it's going to be more along the lines of some main characters dying, and most of Westeros being completely destroyed, but there will still be a Dream of Spring phase. There will be some beloved characters left that will restore and rebuild the kingdoms. It will leave a very bitter taste in our mouths at the end, when we fully grasp how many people died senselessly, but in the end, all of the evil rulers will be dead. The entire realm is going to suffer during that process, but I am confident there will be enough good people alive to build Westeros into a more civilized and prosperous place to live than it was before. That's kind of how I've always seen it playing out. The Night King will be defeated, Cersei and Euron will be defeated, but we will probably lose Jon or Dany in the process. One of them will probably die. But I have a good feeling that characters like Tyrion, Davos, Gendry, Missandei, Brienne, and possibly a few others will live. And if so, those are the perfect characters to leave responsible for instilling new laws and making Westeros a better society to live, essentially. If you think it will end worse than that, please let me know how you foresee the ending of the series. The next question is from Matt Murdoch, and he says, is Cersei going to die early next season so the White Walkers are the big bad guys, or is she going to make it out alive? In my opinion, I would have to say no to both of those questions. Cersei will not die early, but she will die at some point. She will not make it out of this alive, and if she did, I would be kind of surprised. I think she's been living on borrowed time for a while now, and her judgment day is coming very soon. But she is very resilient, and she has been able to outmaneuver her foes when push comes to shove. The only reason why I think Cersei will live until the end of the season is because the Night King is already in the north. The Night King is too dangerous to leave unattested right now, especially while Jon's family is at Winterfell, right in the Night King's path. Jon and Daenerys are already heading north, and they will come face to face with the army of the dead very soon. We have already seen tons of evidence that show Winterfell under attack. Since the Night King is close by, it's most likely him. Jon and Daenerys are not going to be able to deal with Cersei while the Night King is destroying the north and turning even more people into whites. They will have to stop him as soon as possible, because if his army continues to get any bigger, their chances of defeating him decrease significantly. While all of this is going on, Cersei will remain alive and in power. Miguel Sapochnik is directing episodes 3 and 5. Since he has directed some of the other massive battles, he will most likely direct the battles against the Night King and the battle against Cersei. With keeping that in mind, I believe Cersei will die by episode 5. I can't see her living any longer than that, because I believe King's Landing will be attacked by episode 5 next season. They have no choice because there is only 6 episodes left. This next question is from Christina, and she says, was Leaf and her group the last of the Children of the Forest? Are they gone and extinct now that they're dead? This is a very good question, and in terms of the television show, I can't give a definitive answer because we haven't seen every location yet. All I can really say is they did make it seem like they were the last ones left. Leaf and her group of children never mentioned or even referenced any others like them, so it did appear as if they were the last of a dying breed. If there are any more children left, they would have to be at the Isle of Faces, which is a sacred island in the middle of a lake known as the God's Eye, which is in the Riverlands right next to Harrenhal. That's where the famous tournament was held, and that's where Arya and Tywin had their scenes together. The Isle of Faces is one of the few locations in the south that still has weirwood trees because most of them were cut down and burnt in the south. But the Isle of Faces is where the Children of the Forest and the First Men agreed to make a pact to end the wars against each other. When they did this, they carved faces into all the weirwood trees on the island. That way they could witness the pact they made together. Then they formed the Order of the Green Men, so they could stay there and watch over the remaining weirwood trees in the south. This is a very special and sacred place, so if there is any children left, they would most likely be here. This last question is from Ezra Lannister, and it says, do you think we will see the army of the Warriors of Light from Ashai in Season 8? Will Kinvara play a role? I won't guarantee we will see them, but I am very close to saying that. I am pretty sure everyone is aware of what Melisandre said to Varys in her final scene. She said she was going to Volantis, but she was coming back, and there can only be a few reasons why Melisandre is going to go there in the first place. It has to be for some kind of assistance for the Great War, or else she would have no reason to go there and then come back. It would be a pointless trip unless it is of some kind of importance. We were already introduced to Kinvara in Season 6, so there is a very good chance we could see her again. Kinvara did say some very ominous things to Varys when they met, and I feel like we should get some closure there. I believe we need to find out what Varys heard in the flames. It has haunted Varys and shaped him into the man that he is today. He has been too important of a character for us not to get that reveal. Melisandre and Kinvara both may play a role in that. Also, we know this story is about ice and fire. There are tons of different examples I can give, but I'm sure most of you are aware of enough of them. One of the main ones will take place during the Great War. We will have the Great Other and the Night King representing ice, and we should have R'hllor, along with Daenerys representing fire. I don't know if Melisandre will go to Asshai or not, but we do know she said she was going to Volantis, and that's where the Fiery Hand is located. They are a group of slave soldiers who guard the Red Temple of R'hllor in Volantis, and the Fiery Hand contains 1,000 soldiers. Now I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but we don't know exactly what kind of powers they may possess. They are slave soldiers of R'hllor, so there is no telling what they might be capable of. They also carry spears, and they have points on them in the shape of flames, so we could potentially have these fire soldiers going up against the Night King's ice soldiers, and that would look pretty damn cool. Volantis is also known for having some of the best blacksmiths who know how to rework Valyrian steel. Now I know there isn't much Valyrian steel left for anyone to reforge, but I felt like I should at least mention that. I think there are a number of different reasons why Melisandre could have went there, but the most logical answer would be to prepare for the war against the Night King. Melisandre's main purpose was to be ready for this day. She has preached about the darkness coming ever since her first scene, and there's no way she doesn't play some kind of a big role in all of this. She did tell Varys her job was done because she brought ice and fire together, since she did talk Daenerys into meeting Jon Snow, but that's not all she's gonna do. I made a video a few months ago where I talked about Melisandre's endgame and what I truly think her purpose is. I will actually be updating that video very soon, because I found some amazing evidence that supports my theory even more. I'm really looking forward to making that video because I believe I did find the answer, but we shall see. If you have any thoughts or questions of your own about today's video, please leave them down in the comment section. I would like to hear what you have to say about some of these things. I have to thank everyone for taking the time to watch this video, especially if you've made it this far. I'm always curious to know how many people actually listen all the way through my videos. So if you're still here, leave a comment down below and let me know where you're from. You don't have to be too specific, but I'm interested in knowing which cities or countries everyone lives in. Also, before I go, I want to thank everyone who supports my channel on Patreon, and I want to give a special shout out to Doug Beck, who pledged $100, and Dante Williams, who pledged $50. I cannot thank you all enough for how generous you have been. It means more than you would ever know. I hope everyone has a great day. I will see you in the next one. Bye.